Welcome to the Flip to Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Sean Terry. Hello again, this is Sean Terry from the Flip to Freedom podcast, and we are on episode number 87. Now, if you are joining us for the very first time, I'd like to welcome you and let you know that I have designed this podcast for you and to give you all the information you need to go out and basically live the life of freedom. Now, it's kind of cliche, right, to say that, but to get out of the job, quit your job, be done with corporate America, and live life on your own terms, okay? And what we explain in the podcast is doing this using real estate as a vehicle. Okay, specifically wholesaling. Now, wholesaling is where it doesn't matter if you have any cash or any credit. You can get involved, or even any experience. And you can get involved and you can do deals. You can flip houses and make it $5,000 a deal, $10,000 a deal, $15,000, $20,000, whatever the case may be. But it's as simple as going out and finding a motivated seller, getting a property under contract, right? And now you have controlling interest of the property, and then now marketing it to a cash buyer that's going to come in and they're going to buy it cash, looking for a property to fix and flip or to buy and hold or whatever the case may be. They're looking for a deal that's below market, and you're going to tee that up. Now, if you marry those two together, right, then you can turn around and make the spread the difference in between. You know, you get a contract with a seller for 50, you get a contract with a buyer for 60, you turn around and you bring it to a closing agent, title company, escrow officer, and you instruct them to do either A, an assignment, or B, what's called a double escrow or a simultaneous close, and you will get the difference. $10,000 goes to you. Now, if you do one of these deals a month, you know, for the next 12 months, which is really not that hard, you're talking $120,000 a year. What would it take on your current job to make $120,000 a year? What would it take to get a raise to get $120,000 a year? It's crazy. Well, I do anywhere from 10 to 15 of these type of deals a month in the Phoenix market. And that's my full-blown deal. That's what I do. And it's great because I don't have to answer anybody. I can come and go when I please. And I'm building something for myself. And this podcast is talking about every aspect when it comes to how to find the seller, how to find, the seller. What list do you target? What mail piece do you use? How frequently do you mail them? Can you use pay-per-click advertising and market on Google for specific keywords, and you can generate leads that way? Can you go out and do HUD homes, where you can flip HUD homes and turn around and get properties that way to get them under contract and turn around and sell them. And then guess what? I tell you how to deal with the escrow company. I tell you how to write the contract, tell you how to find the buyer, how to negotiate with a buyer, how to negotiate with a seller, how to figure out motivation. This is all in this podcast. It's a roadmap, teaches you everything you need to know so you can eliminate that fear of the unknown. Well, how do we do it? What do I do? It's all here. All you got to do is listen to the episodes. I have people that say that they've found the podcast and they drove across country and listened to every single one. That's a lot of podcasts right now. 86. That's over 86 hours of content that's out there right now, specifically documenting exactly how this works. Now, you're probably wondering, well, has other people had success doing this? Well, all you got to do is go to flipthe2freedom.com, flipthe2freedom.com, and there's a case studies tab on there. And there are people that have listened to the podcast, applied the information, and got results. And they went out and they've take a video. They sent me a video of their check, their first check that they got. And I can tell you they're excited. Some of them have tears in their eyes because they've worked and they busted their butt and they focused and they got the result. My first check I ever made back in 2003 was $11,008. And that changed my existence. I was like, oh my gosh. Because guess what? I didn't know if I could do it. I stumbled across this. And I was taught to go out and knock on pre-foreclosure doors. To go out and find leads, find motivated sellers. And that's all I knew. I went out and did it. And I can tell you it wasn't easy. Wasn't easy at all. I worked my butt off and I was focused, but that's what I did. But if you want to get more, go to flip2freedom.com. I wrote a book. There's a video of me on the front page. I wrote a book and it specifically goes through and teaches you exactly what you need to do. It's the number one book in Amazon right now. If you search real estate in Amazon, go there. It's the number one book. It's been downloaded, I don't know, probably 500,000 times right now. So I don't know, but it's crazy. And you got to listen. You got to actually read it. It's phenomenal. Anyways, people have told me they spent well over $1,000 for the same information I give away. It's all for free. It's free on Amazon. You can get it there. Anyway, so the bottom line is this, is that that's what this podcast is about, to give you the vehicle, give you the inspiration, give you the motivation, and give you the knowledge to go out and do it. Now, in this particular episode, you know what? I have, I guess I could say this, is that, it's not tough. Recently, I have part of the Flip to Freedom. I have the Flip to Freedom Academy. Flip to Freedom Academy is a membership site where people can learn, and it's a 19-week program that explains everything in detail and videos, and I do coaching calls every 2 weeks and go through information. It's great, right? But people sign up, they get started, and we have probably one of the lowest refund rates because people that are involved, they're either getting started, they're getting success, there's tons of comments, people are active, it's crazy, right? So the bottom line is that there's getting tons of success and tons of result. But then there's that small few that will ask for a refund, right? Which we grant, as soon as possible, right? But the bottom line is that we always ask, what is the reason for refunding and what could we do better to make it a better experience? So this guy recently, and I don't want to name any names here, but this guy recently said, well, I tried it for 30 days and it didn't work. And my wife said, if I didn't make any money, I've got to quit. So, I don't know about you, but what business, I'm talking about business here. I'm not talking about some get rich quick scheme, some, I don't know. But what business can you get in, put half-assed effort, right? I'm going to try it, and then go out and get success and results. Any successful person had to bust their butt, work harder than they've ever worked before to go out and get results. So this podcast, okay, it might not be specifically on techniques on how to do real estate, but this particular episode is going to polarize you to realize what it takes to make it happen. Because here's the deal, is that does real estate work? Hey, I flip anywhere from 10 to 15 houses a month, and I make an absolute fortune doing it. And I absolutely love it, and it's great. And there's people all across the country that are doing it. There's people that are buying land and turn around and selling land and making money. There's people that are buying apartment complexes, they're stabilizing it, turn around and selling it and making money. There's people buying $20,000 houses, turn around and selling it. There's people flipping $20,000 houses and doing it, not putting a dime into it. So real estate works, right? Can we all agree on that? The real estate works. So what's the variable? Right? The variable is the person. The person is the variable. So the bottom line is this, is that, every market, there's houses, there's buyers, there's below market, there's motivation. It doesn't matter. It's all real estate. In real estate, wholesaling, selling houses, it works. The variable is the person that is applying the information to go out and get the results. And here's the deal. The bottom line is this, is that what does it take to make it in this business? What does it take? What type of person? What type of attitude? What type of desire? What type of passion? What type of relentlessness? What type of tenacity does it take to make it happen? That's what we're going to talk about in the show. And see, why I want to do this is because this is probably one of the most important parts, because I want to set the expectation straight that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I'm just going to come in, I'm going to listen to the podcast, I'm going to send some flyer, I'm going to get rich. No, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to work harder than you've ever worked before. Ever worked before. to go out and be able to have the freedom to do what you want to do. Do you realize this? Is that we were taught, right? I went to high school, right? And I didn't go to college because I wasn't smart enough. And I just couldn't handle it. I mean, I was a CD student in high school. But in high school, we spend 14,000 hours in school learning what? We learn how to read. We learn arithmetic, right? We learn economics. We learn history. All these things that they've been teaching for years and years and years and years. And then we go sit down with a guidance counselor. So I sit down with this guidance counselor, and he looks at my grades, and he's going, probably can't get into high school. Well, maybe you can get in the service. Right? They'll take you. So what I do, I go join the Marine Corps when I was 18 years old. And I go risk my life to go out there and serve our country. It's a great experience. I never take it back. But the bottom line is that we sit down with a guidance counselor, and based upon our grades, he tells us what we could do for a career, right? So then we go out, and maybe we go pursue that career. We go to college, and we pursue that career. And then we go work a job. And now we get a job in our maybe early 20s, right? Right? We go get a job, and we want to work our way up the corporate ladder. And see, now we got to deal with this whole corporate environment. We got a boss. We've got schedules to answer. We got to be there at a certain time. You can take vacation when they say you can take vacation. You can go to the bathroom when you say you can go to the bathroom. You have to leave when you want to leave. Then you got the pressure of work because you want to perform, don't you? You want to do better than everybody else, right? So you go out and you work hard. And you go through this corporate thing, and you got to almost play this whole political, hey, how's it going, boss? And kind of kiss him butt, hey, he's good, And you really hate the guy. But you're just playing the game, right? Aren't you sick of playing the game? So then we go work, we get a job, and we go work and put countless hours into something that's, 50 to 60% of Americans are dissatisfied with their job. And you wouldn't be listening to this podcast right now if there's not something stirring in you that wants to be more and do more. So we're stuck in this job, and see, our thinking is we have security. We have security. Then, then holy cow, maybe, I can, work here for the rest of my life and I can retire. We have security because we have benefits. I remember, I remember this girl I was dating, and he worked at Texas Instruments out in. And he goes, what do you want to be with your life? And I was like, I don't know. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to build a business, whatever. And he's like, well, you want to make sure you get a job with benefits, benefits. Well, listen, if you make enough money, you can buy benefits. I got benefits. And guess what my benefit is? My benefit is if I want to work, I can work. If I want to take off the whole summer and go to the beach, guess what? I can. If I want to make as much money as I want, I can. Wouldn't you rather have those benefits than medical, And I got all the medical benefits because I can afford it. So the bottom line is this, is that we get in this program that we have to follow this path with the herd, the masses, the sheep, right? We got to follow the masses. We got to get in line. Like the dude said, that movie Ants. You got to get in line. Right? To do what? To achieve what? To achieve that Friday afternoon, then we can get off, and then boom, we can have Saturday and Sunday off, and maybe 2 weeks a year. Do you realize the average American changes jobs every 3 to 4 years? That means by the time they're going through their lifespan of working, they're changing jobs 7 to 8 times in their work life. Well, how do you build a retirement and all this type of stuff if you're changing jobs? Most people, they get into the 40s and the 50s, and they realize that, man, they're sick of playing the game. I'm sick sick of playing the game. And they want to go out and they want to do something for themselves, but they're too far ingrained. Now they've got a big house with a big mortgage payment. They got a couple kids, they got nice cars, and hey, they're big, in their pond. Maybe they're big fish in their pond. But inside, they're miserable. They have to force themselves to crawl out of bed and got to get a cup of coffee and maybe, a couple stimulants or whatever so they can get in the shower and, get in the car and commute off to work or answer to the boss. Just can't wait to that vacation time. Looking forward to it. I can't wait to get off or some Christmas break or whatever. That's no way to live. Don't you want to live on your own terms? See, and I see this guy that kind of inspired this whole podcast, and I got to thank him for it. But he gets in, right? And he wants to have the dream. I want to have it, but he doesn't really want to have it. Well, I'll try it for 30 days. If it doesn't work, I'll request my money back. It's a 30-day guarantee. That person, that attitude will never, ever make it in anything at all. Because I don't care what you get into, right? I struggled. I worked my butt off. When I first got started, right? I bought this course. I didn't have the money. I had $250 on a Capital One credit card. My wife had $250, whatever it was. And we turned around and bought a course. And this course on how to go out and find motivated sellers. I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't have any credit. I had a 480 credit score. I didn't have any cash, right? I bought this course. This guy said, go out and knock on pre-foreclosure doors. If you knock on pre-foreclosure doors, you might find someone that wants to sell. So I went out, first pre-foreclosure door, I almost passed out. I didn't know what to say. Knocked on the door and I was like, whatever. But guess what? I got over the fear. And I did it again and again and again and again until my knuckles were bleeding because I wanted it bad. Think of your life of something, one thing that you wanted more than anything else. And you put forth the effort and you went out and you accomplished it. You worked harder than you've ever worked before. That's what it was like. And I turned around and I wanted it so bad. So bad that I went out and when I had time off, I was knocking on doors. In the morning, I'd knock on doors. For lunch, I wouldn't eat. I'd knock on doors. After I got off work, I'd go knock on doors. I'd turn around, knock on doors until it was dark, and then I'd turn around again. And on the weekends, I'd go out and knock on doors. I would do whatever it takes. I'd go knock on doors until I couldn't even see straight. And every door, I was like, this is the one. This is the one. This is the one. You know what? And I almost quit. It was hard. I don't want to lead you wrong. It was hard. This is hard. Guess what? If you want to make more in a month than the average American makes in a year, do you think it's going to be easy? If it was easy, everybody would do it. But it's not. So, going out and knocked on doors, I got my first deal. This is the one. This is the one. And then I went out, got a guy. He said he wanted to sell it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have my contracts or anything. I went out and got the deal under contract, and I turned around. It didn't have any buyers, didn't have any stuff. I turned around and sold it, and I made $11,008. Boom! I did it. It worked. I confirmed it. All the people, friends, family, relatives, coworkers that told me I was crazy going out and knocking on pre-foreclosure doors, guess what? I have validation. There's no better revenge than massive success. I got a check that I could shove in their face nicely and say, I did it. Guess what? They all shut up. And then I went out and I even worked. I said, oh man, you almost smell it. You're like, ha ha, bam. Went out. I got another check, $2,000, right? And that was, I did everything wrong. Completely everything you're not supposed to do, I did it. And then what happened? For months and months and months, I couldn't get a check. I was busting. I was working hard. I was knocking on doors. I was doing everything right. So I thought I was pushing it. And again, I came to the brink of quitting. I remember I was sitting there. I was going, what am I doing wrong? And at this time, I quit my job. I quit my job right after my first check of $11,008. I don't suggest you do that. I always tell people, say, listen, get 1 year's worth of income in the bank by flipping houses, and then you have the option to quit your job if you so choose, right? But it's your choice, but not me. I got an $11,008 check. I said, boom, I'm getting rich, baby. So I went out and quit. Bam, got another check for $2,000, and they couldn't get a check for the life of me. And see, my whole thing is, if it's not working, I work harder. If something's not working, I push harder. So guess what? I said, instead of knocking on 20 doors a day, I'm going to knock on 30 doors a day. Instead of knocking on 30 doors a day, I'm going to knock on 50. I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to stay up later. I'm going to knock on doors even if it's dark out. I don't care if I get splinters in my fingers and my knuckles. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to find a deal. And guess what? It didn't do it. I couldn't find one. And it came to the brink of I'm almost quit. Almost quit. And I relate it back to the story in the Think and Grow Rich when the guy who was digging for gold, he bought all the equipment, he bought all the stuff, right? He had, and he was digging and digging and digging. He dug for years and years and years and years, and he couldn't find gold, and he gave up. He didn't regroup. He didn't think, okay, he didn't, reevaluate and look at it and say, okay, here, what can I do? I can get more information. How can I get better? But what he did is he quit. He quit. And guess what happened? He sold all of his equipment for pennies on the dollar to a guy that came in. He did a little bit of research and realized that he was 3 feet off. So he moved over 3 feet from where this guy was digging, and with a matter of days hit the biggest gold vein in the history of California and became worth tens of millions of dollars. Now, how would you feel being the guy who quit? How would you feel being that guy who quit, sold his stuff pennies on the dollar? So I remember hearing that story, and I'm going, you know what? I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. And man, I was struggling. We had hard finances, were tight. What am I going to do? And I remember I was driving down the freeway on the I-17 here in Phoenix, and I had $60. I mean, I literally had maybe a couple $100 to my name. I don't know what it was. It was tough. I had like $60, and I remember there was a guy holding a sign on the side of the street that was saying, we'll work for food type of thing. He was looking for money. And I remember I rolled down the window, I took everything I had out of my wallet, and I gave him $60. I said, here, take it. Now, guess what? That was like the last $60 I had. And I still got a family, didn't pay my mortgage. I was a mess. But I said, here, take it. I gave it to him. Within a week, I had this idea that maybe if I could, place this ad, in this paper of a job paper, which was like inexpensive, that I could potentially get leads that could come in, of people maybe looking to sell their house. So I put it in there, right? And I turn around, and this person called who inherited a property that was sitting vacant for years. It was all boarded up. It was nasty. People were actually breaking in, doing drugs in the place. But I got the property under contract for like $40-something thousand, $47,000, $45, whatever it is. $40-something thousand. And I was like, 47 things worth like 120, 47,000. And I turned around and I met a buyer at the local real estate investment club, a buyer who was looking for fix and flip. He went out, he met me at the property, and I said, I'm asking 74 for it. He said, no, I can't do 74. And he started getting in his car. I said, well, what can you do? He said 71. So he said, okay, done. We wrote the contract on the car right there. We closed. And I think I made like $34,000, if that's how the numbers work out. $34,000, $35,000, whatever it was. But it was a big check. And that was the biggest check. And I can tell you, I was on the brink of quitting. And I can tell you this, maybe you've listened to the podcast, maybe you got up and started, maybe you have maybe even read my book, or maybe you're trying it, and maybe it's not working, or something's wrong, or something's up, right? First off, give something, give away, give some information, give money, whatever the case may be. Then next thing is guess what? And then be open up for new ideas. Be open for new ideas. And things will start coming your way. You'll be amazed. But you will be pushed to the brink of quitting. It's just the way it is. It's a test. It's God's test. Are you worthy? Are you worthy? So I went out and I got that check, and bam. Oh man. From that point, I went out and made $134,000 from that May to the end of the year. And that was phenomenal. Changed my that was it. Boom. And then, listen to this. That was one of the first points. First points I almost quit because I was out there knocking on doors and didn't have a lot of information. I was kind of like shooting from the hip, knock on doors, hope to find someone, couldn't find anybody, finally found someone, boom, got a check. Great. Now I know it works. Then I went out, got another check. Okay, I know it works again. I did it twice. Perfect. Then I can go out and get a check for the life of me. Went out, got a big old check. Boom, it works. Went out, made some money, cranking. Then 2005 came and made an absolute fortune, right? Bought a $36 million worth of properties and turned around and sold it in 2005 and made more money than I could even fathom. Just ridiculous. Well, that was my brilliant move. Then my stupid move is to plow it all back in the land, right? Then the market dropped here in Phoenix, like crashed here in Phoenix. And I'll never forget when Washington Mutual collapsed. Washington Mutual, I remember that day. Remember they were, the market was down like 700 or 800 points. We got it was on the news. Washington Mutual is now done, one of the largest banking institutions. Banks were closing. Every day there was another news of banks closing. I remember I was reading the paper, which is a bad step. And all these banks were closing, done. And then, right, here in Phoenix, they had the largest hard money lender here in town. It was Mortgages Limited, okay? And the owner of the company was Scott Coles, and the company was started by his dad back in the early 90s, and Scott took it over in like 93, 94, and then built it to $1 billion empire. I mean, this guy was Jewish, and he was he was at the pinnacle. He was in with all the the athletes. He was in with, he had, mansions, 10,000 square foot mansions that were just ridiculous. $10-12 million mansions. Then he had his own mansion where it was, had his own golf course, $20 million mansion, just crazy. And the guy was in his mid 40s, living large, right? The market crashed. All the lending, all the properties he lent on, the values plummeted, and he found himself stuck. So you know what he did? The guy gave up. He dressed himself in a tuxedo, and he killed himself. He took his life. He gave up on life because he saw no way out. He quit. He's a quitter. And he had a little kid, had a wife, but the guy saw no way out. Now, that's pathetic. The bottom line is this, is that all I can say is this, is that if you ever get that low and you think about ever doing that, sleep on it. Go to bed. Ask God for guidance, wake up in the morning, and then see how you feel. Because guess what? There'll always be another day. You always can work through it. He could have worked through it. He could have found a way to work. He might have took some hits in the chin, but guess what? That's okay. It's part of life. But during that time, man, for me, it was difficult. That sent a shockwave through Phoenix that was just incredible. Like, oh my gosh, we are in crisis here in Phoenix. Houses that were $200,000 were now $30,000 and $40,000. And I was knocking on pre-foreclosure doors. to find properties back in 2003, and now it's 2008, and I've got properties going to foreclosure. I've got properties that are going to foreclosure because I had a house. I had a $170,000 loan on it. It was worth $30,000. And I remember I was so depressed. I would read the paper every day just looking for signs of hope somewhere. And man, I almost gave up. I remember, man, I was just like, I was living on an absolute shoestring. Nothing was happening in real estate in Phoenix. Nothing. This shockwave through, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I went from making an absolute fortune, money coming in, just like ridiculous amounts, to wondering where I'm going to find my car payment. And see, guess what? That's another test. God was testing my faith. And see, I almost quit right then. I almost said, you know what? I'm just going to get a job. I'm just going to get a job, make some money, wait for the economy to come back, and just try it again. But my wife kind of slapped me upside the head and said, dude, what are you doing? I said, wake up. The positive stuff. You've read books. I'm an avid reader. Read books, read all this stuff. Go out and apply it. Focus on it. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm done with this. I can do this. And see, it almost like you need to have someone kind of believe in you. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I gave up on me. And see, there are some of you, man, you've got beaten down by this economy. You've got beaten down. And guess what? Guess what? You don't have anybody to believe in you. Well, I can tell you this. I believe in you. You have every ability to make this work. I don't have any more talent than anybody. I don't have any more skills. I don't have any more, education. I just pour it out in this podcast. You've got all the tools. I know you can do this. You might not believe in yourself, but I know you can do this. And I want that guy who quit. It makes me sad. And see, I see these, all these webinars, that come out in these trainings. And I know people love their products and they want to teach people about it and stuff like that. And all this information overload, and people get analysis paralysis. What do I do? They get all these different things. They watch webinars and read books and all this training and stuff like that. What do you do? What do you do? And they don't know which direction to go. There's 50 million paths in front of them. Should I wholesale? Should I do short sales? Should I do this? Should I do that? What do I do? And here's what I tell you. Pick one person that you resonate with, whether it's me or it's somebody else, someone that is giving away great content, information that touches your heart, that inspires you, that motivates you, that can give you a path. Find someone that has what you want, do what they do, and you'll get what they got. Find someone that you resonate with, and then put on the blinders. Block everything else out, and just focus on one thing, and never quit. Because here's the deal. The pain of regret is more severe than the pain of failure. The pain of regret. See, go out and make it happen. See, you cannot fail if you don't quit. Do you realize that? There is no such thing as a failure. There's only such thing as a quitter. See, and maybe I was just stubborn. Maybe I was just blockhead. Maybe it was a Marine Corps, whatever. I just was going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. So how do you get yourself in that state of mind where you're going to go out and you are going to conquer all obstacles and all things to go out and make it happen? You have to have a vision of what you want, and you've got to commit to it with everything in your being. In the Bible, it says, you either be hot or be cold. But if you're lukewarm, I'll spew you out of my mouth. You know what that means? Make a decision. Either you're in or you're out. Make a decision. But don't do this, well, I'm going to try it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, my wife won't let me do it. No. Make a decision and then commit to it. And realize this. You will have to work your butt off like you've never worked before. You will have to go out and put forth energy and effort, higher levels than you've ever done before. But this is the thing. You control your destiny. You do. You can wake up earlier. You can go to bed later. You know how I flip 15 houses a month, 10, 15 houses a month, built a $10 million a year successful real estate business, and then turn around and built a multi-million-dollar a year internet marketing business where I have members all across the country? How do you do that all in one time? It's because you commit and you never quit and you focus. And I work my butt off. I get up before everybody else. I go to bed after everybody else. Why? Because I am building my dream. I have big expectations. I have big goals. And I'm just getting started. And here's the thing. You have every opportunity because I believe in you. I know you can make it happen. But guess what? You got to raise it up a level. You got to step up. What's it going to take? You got to put more energy. If you have to wake up earlier to get the information and get the training, then wake up earlier. If you have to go to bed later, then go to bed later. Because who's going to fight for your dream? Who's going to do it? And see, my grandmother just passed away 2 days ago. A week and a half ago, she was shopping with my mom in Florida. And my grandmother, man, she just lives life to the fullest. I mean, she 94 years old, has lived a phenomenal life. Squeezed every ounce of potential out of her life. Never complained about anything. Never complained. But the bottom line is this, is that a week and a half ago, she was shopping. She was struck down with a stroke. I got the news. I flew out to Florida. I was with her. I saw her. I held her hand. I combed her hair. I fed her chocolate. She liked it. I connected with her. And then she passed. And she was gone. But they moved her from a hospital, right? And she wasn't wealthy. And my parents are definitely not wealthy. I don't come from a wealthy family at all. My dad made no more than $50,000 a year his entire life. My grandmother was not wealthy at all. But they put her, because of Medicaid or Medicare, in a nursing home where you have basically 21 days and then, or you have 100 days until Medicare stops paying and you have to deal with Medicaid and this whole thing. You have to qualify. But the qualification is that you have to have like a $2,000 net worth and make less than $2,000 a month, and you qualify to get extra care. Now, I walked in Florida, in this hodunk town, Monticello, Florida. That's where my parents live right now. And this little, this town, this is such a hodunk town, it's not even funny. There's like 12 people there, and they're all related, and I was driving down the street, right? And I was driving down the street, and on the side of the road was this guy had his truck set up, and he had this pot that was boiling, and they were boiling collard greens. What the heck, collard greens? I don't know what collard greens are. They didn't have any, they don't have any of these, like, I have In-N-Out, right? You go In-N-Out, you get a burger. Burger tastes good. It's great, right? They have collard greens that are boiling on the side of the street. That's the In-N-Out. It's a hodunk town in Monticello, Florida. Anyways, this nursing home was just outside this Monticello. And I went in the nursing home and I walked in. And I literally was in shock. Shock. I mean, if you ever want to get motivation to get stinking rich, is walk into a nursing home that's run by Medicare or Medicaid. Unbelievable. All I know is I want to make so much stinking money. I mean, I've got long-term care insurance that I've had for years. My wife has it. I'm good. But the bottom line is this, is that you do not want to end up a frail 80-something, 90-something, 70-something in a nursing home paid for by Medicaid. I can't even explain it. I told my mom, as soon as we got in that place, cockroach running up the wall, I was like, get her out of here. I don't care what it costs. Get her out of here. Finally, with the doctor orders and hospice, took her 2 days to get her out of there. She came home. She passed away. But I'm telling you this, is that, she had a great life, phenomenal life. But I'm telling you, money makes a difference. Money doesn't, they say money doesn't buy happiness. Well, money buys you comfort in times like that. You don't want to end up like that. I tell you, you don't want to do it. So here's the deal. You got to be all in. You got to commit. You got to give whatever it takes. You got to get the attitude. You're going to make it work. You're going to do it, and you're going to work hard, and you're going to make it happen. You're going to do whatever it takes. And you're going to overcome obstacles. You're going to work harder. You're going to work later. And you're going to realize it's going to take effort. It's going to take energy. Because you know what? There is no magic pill. There is no magic button. There is no, oh my gosh, I press this button, I can make money. It's not there. It's not out there. Stop looking for it. Pick something, focus on it, and stop jumping around. You can't build momentum by jumping into something, start applying it for 3 weeks, a month, and go, oh, it's difficult. Maybe I should try something else. Or maybe I should try something else. Put the blinders on, focus, give it everything you've got. Everything you've got. And if you do that, you will realize success. Do you know what it feels like? Do you have any idea what it feels like? I can tell you, it's a calmness and a resolve and just total. It's like this. This is how I can explain it. What if you won the lottery? Right now, you won the lottery. And you knew you won the lottery. It's a $50 million lottery. And you won it right now. And the check hasn't come yet. Right? You're in that in-between time where you know you've won, but the check hasn't come yet. It's on its way. So you know you're getting $50 million less taxes. Let's call it 30. $30 million. How do you feel? Don't you have an excitement? Like you're just, boom, baby. Right? Are you eager? Are you anticipating? Are you dreaming? I can do this, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, I can have this, I can do that, I can do that. Are you preparing? You're preparing for the money to come in, aren't you? Well, listen, I got to talk to a lawyer, man. I got to set up, stock accounts. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to invest it correctly. I got to do this. I got to do that. You're preparing. You're anticipated. You're excited. You're eager. You're joyous, happy, exhilarated. Right? That's how this feels every day. It's addicting. Life is addicting once you understand how to play it. And once you get the money game out of the way and you work your butt off, that's what it's all about. And then you can leave a legacy for your kids. So guess what? My kids will never, ever have to die in a nursing home like my grandmother's. Never. Absolutely never. Because I'm going to leave them such a massive legacy of wealth that I'm doing today for them. You have all the means to make this work. It's not hard. It's not difficult to comprehend. You market for a seller, you market for a buyer, you get them under contract, you match them together. It's not difficult. It just takes effort, vision, focus, energy, and relentlessness. Don't give up. When I was in the Marine Corps, guess what? We did whatever it took to get over an obstacle. A tree wasn't in the middle of our path. We can go, oh God, we got to turn around. Trees in the way. We have to abandon our post. No, we blew through it. We blew it up. What's it going to take? What's it going to take for you to make a decision to commit to you? What's it going to take for you to get the fire in your gut to say, you know what? I am done for settling for second best. I am going for the ultimate. What's it going to take? What's it going to take for you? Is it another 10 years of commuting back and forth? Maybe it's a boss that you just don't like. Maybe it's not spending time with your family. Fighting over the wife more time because you're putting in too many hours. You're not spending time with her. I don't know. What's it going to take? The stress is killing you. Don't you want to feel that exhilaration? Well, guess what? You're just not going to be able to blink. You got to put forth effort. And see, here's the deal. Once you commit and you just start doing the next step. Listen to my episodes. Read my book. You start doing the next step. Then things, places, people, things will line up. Circumstances, events, things will come your way and you go, holy cow. Because you're all in. You are all in with the chips. You're 100% committed. It's all the way. I can't push the chips in for you. You've got to do it yourself. Push the chips in. Commit to this thing. Commit to the path. And you will not feel the pain of regret, but feel the exhilaration of success. I want that for you. So if you want more from me, go to flip2freedom.com, flip2freedom.com, and go and download my book, listen to my podcast, because it's going to give you the path, it's going to give you the direction, and it's all free. Just apply it and you will get the results. Next week, we'll reconvene with Eric Thiel and the Great Escape reality podcast show. And until then, I wish you ultimate success in your real estate investing career. Some of you listening now, I'll see you this weekend in Scottsdale, Arizona, May 18th weekend. And guys, be prepared. We're going to learn a lot. So until then, God bless. And I wish you the feeling of success because it's undescribable. See ya.